Good morning, dear students. In the previous class, we had discussed the colligative properties, all colligative properties, relative lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressure. These four are important colligative properties. These four can depend on number of solute particles present in the solution. So this is also already we had discussed, but once again we recall osmotic pressure. What is osmotic pressure? It is the excess of pressure which must be applied on solution side. It is the excess of pressure which must be applied on solution side to stop the osmosis process. Excess of pressure which must be applied on solution side to stop the osmosis process. It is denoted by the symbol pi. Pi is equal to, the mathematical expression is pi is equal to CRT, where C is concentration, R is gas constant, T is temperature. Pi is equal to CRT. Concentration is equal to number of moles of solute by volume. Concentration is equal to number of moles of solute by V is volume of solution. N2 is number of moles of solute. From this expression, we concluded that osmotic pressure is a colligative property since it depends on number of moles of solute. Osmotic pressure depends on number of solute particles present in the solution. Number of solute particles present in the solution. Hence, it is a colligative property. And one more important is isotonic solutions. Iso means same. You already know isoelectronic species, isotopes, isobars. Like that, iso means same. Isotonic solutions means the solutions which are having same osmotic pressure. So isotonic solutions means the solutions which are having same osmotic pressure are known as isotonic solutions. Same osmotic pressure. For example, solution A and solution B. 1 mole of KCl and 1 mole of NaCl dissolved in water. 1 mole of KCl is dissolved in 100 ml of water. 1 mole of NaCl is also dissolved in 100 ml of water. If these two solutions are having same osmotic pressure, if these two solutions are having same osmotic pressure, that is pi A is equal to pi B or pi 1 is equal to pi 2. If these two solutions are having same osmotic pressure, iso means same osmotic pressure, those are known as isotonic solutions. So the solutions which are having same osmotic pressure are known as isotonic solutions. If osmotic pressure is same, you know that pi is equal to CRT. Pi 1 is equal to C1 into RT. Pi 2 is equal to C2 into RT. The basic expression for osmotic pressure is pi is equal to CRT, where C is the concentration, R and T are constants. R is gas constant, T is a fixed temperature. So for pi 1, for first solution, concentration is C1. For second solution, concentration is C2. So if osmotic pressures are same, then C1 is equal to C2. So both concentrations are also equal. So finally, what are isotonic solutions? The solutions which are having same osmotic pressure are known as isotonic solutions. So first one is pi 1 is equal to pi 2, then C1 is equal to C2. C1 means number of moles by volume. Number of moles of 1 by number of moles of 2. Concentration is equal to number of moles by 1. NV by 1 is equal to N by V of 2. So these are isotonic solutions. The solutions which are having same osmotic pressure. For example, what is saline water? saline water. Saline water is 0.9% sodium chloride solution weighed by volume. What is saline water? 0.9% sodium chloride solution weighed by volume. You know that saline water and fluids, saline water and fluids present in blood cells are isotonic. Saline water and fluids present in blood cells are isotonic, which means both are having same osmotic pressure. So pi saline water means 0.9% sodium chloride solution is equal to pi blood fluids. So the saline water is 0.9% sodium chloride weighed by volume solution. It is isotonic with fluids present in the blood cells. Both are isotonic solutions. Then only, therefore, the saline water is administered through body. Due to this isotonic nature, saline water is easily administered into body through the nerves. And then one more important is what are hypotonic solutions? What are hypotonic solutions? For example, if blood cells placed in concentration more than 0.9% sodium chloride solution, what happens? If blood cells are placed in concentration more than 0.9% sodium chloride solution, then what happens? So this is a solution, concentration more than 0.9% NaCl solution. If blood cells are placed into this solution, what happens? So what happens means the blood cells shrinks because this is having more concentration. This is less concentration. 0.9% sodium chloride solution. More than 0.9% sodium chloride solution is more concentration than blood cells. Then what happens? Osmosis occurs. Then what happens? Osmosis occurs, which means that the solvent molecules flows from blood cells into the solution. Then the blood cells are shrinks. Solvent molecules flows from blood cells to the sodium chloride solution. Then the blood cells shrinks. This condition is known as hypotonic solutions. Hypotonic means a solution which has more osmotic pressure than other solution. Hypotonic means a solution which has more osmotic pressure than other solution. Here, osmotic pressure of 0.9%. So, osmotic pressure of more than 0.9% concentration of sodium chloride solution is greater than 5 blood cells. So if concentration 0.9% more than NaCl solution is hypertonic to blood cells, hypertonic. If concentration more than 0.9% NaCl solution is hypertonic to blood cells, not hypotonic, hypertonic solutions. A solution which has more osmotic pressure than other solution is known as hypertonic solution. So if blood cells are placed in more than 0.9% concentration of NaCl solution, then what happens? Blood cells shrinks. This is known as hypertonic solution. Hypotonic. If blood cells are placed in less than 0.9% concentration of NaCl solution, if blood cells are placed in less than 0.9% concentration of NaCl solution, then what happens? So this is low concentration and this is high concentration. Then osmosis occurs, flow of solvent from NaCl solution to blood cells. This is low concentration. This is high osmosis means the passage of solvent molecules from low concentration to high concentration. So low concentration to high concentration solvent molecules passes, then blood cells, red blood cells swells up. The red blood cells swells up. Sometimes it is burst also. So this solution is hypotonic to blood cells. So what is hypotonic solution? A solution which has lower osmotic pressure than other solution. A solution which has lower osmotic pressure than other solution. A solution which has lower osmotic pressure than other solution, which means the osmotic pressure of less than 0.9% sodium chloride solution is less than osmotic pressure of blood cells or fluids present in the blood cells. If concentration is less than 0.9% of sodium chloride solution, it is hypotonic to blood cells. It is hypotonic to blood cells. That is, osmotic pressure of concentration less than 0.9% sodium chloride solution is hypotonic to blood cells. So this is hypertonic solution, a solution which has more osmotic pressure than other solution. Hypotonic solution, a solution which has less osmotic pressure than other solution. And coming to one more important topic. What is reverse osmosis? What is osmosis? What is osmosis? Osmosis means flow of solvent molecules from low concentration to high concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Osmosis means flow of solvent molecules from low concentration to high concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Flow of solvent molecules from low concentration to high concentration through semi-permeable membrane is known as osmosis. What is reverse osmosis? So reverse to the osmosis process. Osmosis means flow of solvent molecules from less concentration to high concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Reverse osmosis means reverse the above process. That is, flow of solvent molecules from high concentration to low concentration. Flow of solvent molecules from high concentration to low concentration. Flow of solvent molecules from high concentration to low concentration through semi-permeable membrane. So that is reverse process of osmosis. Flow of solvent molecules from high concentration to low concentration. That is the reverse of osmosis. But how it happens? how the reverse osmosis process happens. Osmosis is general process. Generally, solvent molecules flows from low concentration to high concentration. It is a general phenomenon. But reverse osmosis is how it happens. That is flow of solvent molecules from high concentration to low concentration. See in this diagram. So there are two compartments are there. In the first compartment there is salt water. This is salt water. Salt water means sea water. In the first compartment, sea water. Sea water contains Na plus Cl minus water molecules. Na plus ions, Cl minus ions, K plus ions, and other impurities. Sea water. Sea water contains Na plus ions, Cl minus ions, water molecules, K plus ions, and other impurities. This is first compartment. The second compartment is pure water. Second compartment is pure water. So both are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. So both the first and second chambers or compartments are separated by semi-permeable membrane. You know, seawater is high concentration and pure water is low concentration. Here what we have to do? Reverse osmosis process. That is passage of solvent molecules from high concentration to low concentration. How this happens? If we can apply pressure more than the osmotic pressure. How it will occur reverse osmosis process? If we can apply pressure more than the osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure means it is excess of pressure applied on solution side to stop the osmosis process. Here we do not stop the osmosis process. We can do reverse osmosis process. We can do reverse osmosis process. Therefore, if pressure more than osmotic pressure is applied, what we do? If pressure more than osmotic pressure applied on solution side, what happens? If pressure more than osmotic pressure applied on solution side, what happens? You have to do pressure more than osmotic pressure. This is osmotic pressure, this is applying pressure. Pressure more than osmotic pressure applied on solution side. What happens? The solvent molecules flows from high concentration to low concentration. What happens? The solvent molecules flows from high concentration to low concentration via semi-permeable membrane. So this is the reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis means flow of solvent molecules from high concentration to low concentration. When reverse osmosis process occurs, if you can apply pressure more than the osmotic pressure, then reverse osmosis process occurs. If you can apply pressure more than osmotic pressure, solvent molecules, only solvent molecules, flows through semi-permeable membrane into pure water. Then we can collect pure water here. Only solvent molecules pass through semi-permeable membrane, and at this outlet we can collect pure water. What is the importance of this reverse osmosis process? Desalination of seawater. What is the important application of reverse osmosis? Desalination of seawater. That is, seawater is converted into drinking water. So this is seawater, and it is pure water, and it is drinking water outlet. So desalination of seawater. Seawater is made fit by drinking purpose by using the reverse osmosis process. For this, we can use specially made semi-permeable membrane. We can use specially made semi-permeable membrane. Not ordinary semi-permeable membrane like pig's bladder, parchment paper, cellophane sheet are not possible for this purpose. Specially made semi-permeable membrane, that is cellulose sheet. So the cellulose acetate semi-permeable membrane for this reverse osmosis process. This cellulose acetate semi-permeable membrane permeable to only solvent molecules. It can permeable to only solvent molecules, but impermeable to it does not allow the impurities and small ions like Na plus, Cl minus, K plus like that present in the seawater. It can allow only the solvent molecules, but it does not allow the passage of solvent does not allow the passage of smaller ions like K plus, Na plus, Cl minus. Thereby purified the seawater and it made for drinking purpose. This is the reverse osmosis process. Then coming to last topic, abnormal molar masses. So generally Raoult's law is applicable to dilute solutions. Raoult's law is applicable to dilute solutions. If concentration of solute increases, then there is deviations from Raoult's law. If concentration of solute increases, deviation from Raoult's law. That is, they may be a non-ideal solution. So in this situation, these solutions can leads to deviation from colligative properties also. Leads to deviation from colligative properties and molar masses. These type of solutions, like non-ideal solutions, can deviate from Raoult's law and leads to deviation from colligative properties also. And their molar masses also. Expected molar mass is different from normal molar mass. Experimentally determined molar mass is different from normal molar masses. So what is an abnormal molar masses? The abnormal molar masses are molar mass which will be higher or lower than expected or normal molar mass. The molar mass which will be higher or lower than expected or normal molar mass. When it happens, if a solute or electrolyte, when it happens, the expected or normal molar mass can deviate from experimentally determined molar mass. When it happens, when a solute or electrolyte undergo association or dissociation. When it happens, solute or electrolyte undergo association or dissociation, there will be deviation of molar masses, that is experimentally determined molar mass different from normal or expected molar masses. If a solute undergo association or dissociation, it will be happens. If a solute undergo dissociation, if a solute undergo association of solute and dissociation of solute. If a solute undergo dissociation, what happens? For example, KCl is dissolved in water. What happens? It splits into K plus Cl minus ions. If an electrolyte KCl is dissolved in water, what happens? If an electrolyte KCl is dissolved in water, it splits into K plus, and before dissociation there is 1 mole of KCl. After dissociation there is 2 moles of ions. Before dissociation 1 mole of KCl. When it is dissolved in water, it undergo dissociation. It gives 1 mole of K plus ions and 1 mole of Cl minus ions. There is total 2 moles of ions, which means that dissociation leads to increase in number of particles. Dissociation leads to increase in number of particles. Before there is 1 mole of KCl, after dissociation there are 2 mole of ions, which means that increase in number of particles leads to increase in number of colligative properties also. Increase in value of colligative property. because colligative properties depends upon only number of particles present in the solution. Colligative properties depends only on number of particles present in the solution. Therefore, increase in number of particles, increase in the value of colligative properties. So thus, if a solute undergo dissociation, normal molar mass is, what is the molar mass of KCl? Normal or expected? Potassium 39, chlorine 35.5, 74.5. Potassium 39, chlorine 35.5. What is the normal molar mass? 74.5. What is the experimentally determined? Experimentally determined molar mass? It is equal to normal molar mass by 2. That is 74.5 by 2. That is 37.25. So the normal molar mass is 74.5. Experimentally determined molar mass is normal molar mass by 2. That is 37.25 grams. Which means that when a solute undergo dissociation, the experimentally determined molar mass is less than normal molar mass. If a solute undergo dissociation, what happens? The experimentally determined molar mass is less than the normal molar mass. If a solute undergo association, for example, acetic acid in benzene. Acetic acid is dissolved in benzene. Acetic acid is dissolved in benzene. It undergo dimerization. If acetic acid is dissolved in benzene, it undergo dimerization. That is association of acetic acid molecules. Two acetic acid molecules taken in benzene solvent undergo dimerization. That is CH3COOH twice. So dimer formation. So which means that number of particles in solution decreases. Number of particles in solution decreases. Due to association, what happens? Before that there are two acetic acid molecules. After that dimerization there is only one molecule, one dimer molecule. So number of particles in solution decreases due to association. Therefore, value of colligative properties also decreases. Value of colligative properties also decreases. So for association of solute, the experimentally determined exactly reverse to dissociation of solute. The experimentally determined molar mass is greater than normal molar mass or expected molar mass. The experimentally determined molar mass is greater than normal molar mass or expected molar mass. So these deviations are measured by the scientist Van 't Hoff. So these abnormal, what is abnormal molar mass? Molar mass which will be higher or lower than expected or normal molar mass. Why it happens? Due to the association or dissociation of the solute or electrolyte. Due to the association or dissociation of the solute in solution, we can observe the abnormal molar mass. These abnormal molar masses are observed by scientist Van 't Hoff by using a factor, Van 't Hoff factor. These abnormal molar masses are scientist Van 't Hoff. So Van 't Hoff introduced a factor, Van 't Hoff factor. For these deviations, Van 't Hoff introduced a factor I. For deviations from, that is due to association of solute or dissociation of solute, deviation from molar masses, introduce a factor I. What is I? I is equal to normal, it is the ratio of normal molar mass by experimentally determined molar mass. What is I? It is the ratio of normal molar mass by experimentally determined molar mass, or normal by abnormal molar mass. What is I? Normal molar mass by experimentally determined molar mass, or I is equal to, it is also taken as abnormal molar mass also. Normal by abnormal, simply. Normal by abnormal molar mass. Simply. I is the ratio of normal molar mass by abnormal molar mass. It is the ratio of observed colligative property to calculated colligative property. So, since colligative properties are inversely proportional to molar mass, since colligative properties are inversely proportional to molar mass, that is normal by abnormal, here reverse, observed colligative properties by colligative, calculated colligative properties, and I is also equal to number of molecules after dissociation or association by number of particles before dissociation or association. What is another important expression of I? Number of particles after dissociation or association by number of particles before dissociation or association. So you know that for dissociation of electrolyte, I value is always greater than 1. For association of electrolyte, I is less than 1. For non-electrolytes like carbohydrates, sugars, sucrose, glucose, urea, I value is equal to 1. If an electrolyte neither undergo association nor undergo dissociation, the value of I is equal to 1. The Van Hoff factor is greater than 1 for dissociation because it leads to increase in the number of particles in the solution. For association, the Van Hoff factor is less than 1. Number of particles decreases. If an electrolyte neither undergo association or undergo dissociation, for non-electrolytes, I is equal to 1. I is equal to 1. I value is always considered for very dilute solutions only. These values are considered for very dilute solutions only. Almost 100% dissociation or association of electrolyte. Then only you can consider I as number of particles in solution. For very dilute solutions only, I is equal to number of particles in solution. For 100% dissociation, I is equal to number of particles in solution. Degree of dissociation is designated as alpha. So for dissociation, what is the relationship between I and alpha? I is Van Hoff factor, alpha is degree of dissociation. For dissociation, what is the relationship between I and alpha? Alpha is equal to I minus 1 by n minus 1, or I is equal to 1 plus n minus 1 into alpha. The relationship between Van Hoff factor and degree of dissociation for a dissociation of solute, I is equal to 1 plus n minus 1 into alpha. For association of solute, alpha is equal to 1 minus I by 1 minus 1 by n. For association of solute, the degree of association alpha is equal to 1 minus I by 1 minus 1 by n, where n is the number of particles in the solution. Where n is the number of particles in the solution. Where n is the number of particles in the solution. So let us solve very two important problems on Raoult's law. Vapor pressure of pure water at 298 Kelvin is 23.888 millimeter of his. Vapor pressure of pure water. So vapor pressure of pure solvent is always taken as P01. That is 23.8 mm of Hg. Vapor pressure of pure water, pure solvent, P01. 50 grams of urea is dissolved in 850 grams of water. Urea is solute. Water is solvent. So 50 gram of urea, which means that weight of solute is 50 grams. Weight of solute is 50 grams. What is the weight of solvent? 850 grams. Weight of solvent is 850 grams. Then what is the molecular weight of solute? Solute is urea. Urea formula NH2CONH2. Solute is urea. Molecular formula NH2CONH2. What is the molecular weight or molar mass? 60 grams. What is the molecular weight of solvent? Solvent is water. You know that what is the molar mass or molecular weight of solvent? 18 grams. Then substitute into Raoult's law. What is Raoult's law? P01 minus P1 by P01 is equal to N2 by N1. This is Raoult's law for non-volatile solute. P01 minus P1 by P01 is equal to N2 by N1. That implies P01 minus P1 by P01 is equal to N2 means number of moles of solute, W2 by M2. N1 is number of moles of solvent, M1 by W1. So if you can substitute all these into this, what we have to find out? Vapor pressure of solution. Vapor pressure of solution is P1. We have to find out vapor pressure of solution. That implies P01 is 23.8 minus P1 by P01 is 23.8 is equal to W2 is equal to 50. Weight of solute. Molecular weight of solute 60. What is the molecular weight of solvent? 189. What is the molecular weight of solute? 18 grams. Sorry, 18 grams. By what is the weight of solvent? 850. So we can simplify this. We get what do we have to find out? Vapor pressure of solution. Vapor pressure of solution. Vapor pressure of solution is P1. P1 is equal to 23.38 mm of S. We get the answer. We can simplify this one. We get the answer 23.38. And in the problem, one more is also find out. You have to find out its relative lowering. This is the vapor pressure of solution. What is the relative lowering? Relative lowering means, you know that relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to lowering of vapor pressure by vapor pressure of pure solvent. Lowering of vapor pressure by vapor pressure of pure solvent is relative lowering of vapor pressure. So we have to find out the relative lowering also. After find out vapor pressure of solution, you have to find out relative lowering. Vapor pressure of pure solvent is 23.8 minus vapor pressure of solution is 23.38 by 23.8. You can simplify it. We get answer 0.017 mm of AC. So in this problem, we have to find out vapor pressure of solution and its relative lowering of vapor pressure also. And its relative lowering of vapor pressure is lowering of vapor pressure by vapor pressure of pure solvent. Already we had find out vapor pressure of solution. From this we can find out the relative lowering of vapor pressure by using the formula P01 minus P1 by P01. We get the answer. And second problem is calculate the mass of non-volatile solute. In the brackets mention molar mass 40 grams. Calculate the mass of non-volatile solute. It means that what we have to find out? Weight of solute we have to find out. So they did not given weight of the solute, which should be dissolved in 114 gram octane. Which should be dissolved in 114 gram of octane is the solvent. Octane is the solvent. To reduce its vapor pressure to 80%. When a non-volatile solute is dissolved in the solvent, vapor pressure of solution reduced to 80%. What they given? Vapor pressure of solution, you know that when a non-volatile solute is dissolved in solvent, the vapor pressure is reduced. Or vapor pressure of solution is reduced. How much it reduced? 80%. So for this, percentage means 100. For suppose vapor pressure of pure solvent is 100 atmosphere or 100 mm of Sg. What is the vapor pressure of solution? It is reduced to 80%. So 80 atmosphere or 80 mm of Sg. Percentage means 100. Taken vapor pressure of pure solvent as 100, vapor pressure of solution reduced to 80% means 80. Weight of solute, we have to find out the weight of solute. Calculate the mass of non-volatile solute. Molecular weight of solute they given in the brackets 40. What is the weight of solvent? Solvent is octane. What is the weight? 114 grams. What is the molecular weight of solvent? Octane formula. Octane is CH3, CH2 6 times CH3. So this is octane. Oct means 8 carbons. Alkane, octane. CH3, CH2 6 times CH3. So molecular weight of solvent is also 114 grams. Then substitute into this formula, Raoult's law formula. What is the formula for Raoult's law? P01 minus P1 by P01 is equal to N2 by N1, that is equal to W2 by M2 into M1 by W1. Substitute into this formula. P01 minus P1 by P01 is equal to N2 by N1, which is equal to W, number of moles means weight by molecular weight. W2 by M2 into M1 by W1. P01, what is P01? 100 at mm of S. P1 is 80 by 100. P01 is 100, P1 is 80. What is weight? W2 is, we have to find out weight of solute, non-volatile solute. What is molecular weight? 40 into 114. Molecular weight of solvent is 114. Weight of solvent is also 114. Cancellation. That implies 100 minus 80. 1D by 100 is equal to W2 by 40. 20 by 100 means 1 by 5. 1 by 5 is equal to W2 by 40. 20 by 100 is 1 by 5. That implies W2 is equal to 40 by 5. W2 is equal to 40 by 5, which is equal to 8 grams. Which is equal to 8 grams. These two are very important problems of Raoult's law. For a non-volatile solute, P01 minus P1 by P01 is equal to N2 by N1. These two are important problems of Raoult's law.